Canucks keep the Ducks in check, picking up a 2-0 win over Anaheim. We're here to break it down. This is Rink Wide Vancouver. And we welcome you inside the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. It was the Vancouver Canucks 2, the Anaheim Ducks no score. It's Rink Wide. It's brought to you in part by Bet365. I'm Jeff. He's Irf. And it goes into the books as a team shutout. And unfortunately for Nikita Tolopilo, he gets a victory. But he's going to have to wait for his first National Hockey League shutout. We don't make the rules here. That's just the way the National Hockey League looks at it when a guy doesn't play an entire game. And if you missed it, to start the second period of play, Kevin Lankinen came on and logged exactly 2 minutes and 11 seconds of ice time, faced one shot, made the save, and then Tolopilo came back in. And, of course, he was taken out of the game because of the concussion spotter. Got bowled over by Ryan Poehling late in the first period. There was a goaltender interference penalty. It was the only time the Ducks put a puck in the net, but it didn't count. Referee was there to wave it off right away, and it was the right call. And from that point on, Nikita Tolopilo able to dust himself off, shake it off, had to spend a little time in the concussion spotter room. Yeah. But otherwise, he was terrific. And this is in a season of losing, in a season of gloom and doom, there's a nice story developing here with Nikita Tolopilo.
Well, we talked about this. They need to find out what they have in him. And for this game, I mean, got pulled by the concussion spotter during the intermission, missed a couple minutes. Kevin Lankinen with his one save, let's not forget about that, definitely contributed to Nikita Tolopilo's shutout. But you're right, Jeff. I mean, for all the stuff that's going on and going bad, if there is a good news story, and we can latch on to this if we want, and I'm sure the Canuck faithful will try to, but goalies, and we know about their health in this city and this team, if they get another guy that can emerge as a talent, it wouldn't be a bad thing for this organization.
I think Adam Foote's got a decision here to make for Saturday. Results don't matter right now. The Canucks can enjoy a victory. They've been few and far between. We all know the storylines here. But you've got a guy that's running hot in Nikita Tolopilo. Why wouldn't you come right back? And you talk about tests, find out. Push him a little bit here. Comes off the bench cold the other night, gives up a couple of goals to the San Jose Sharks. But you know what? One of them was a 5-on-4. The other was a 5-on-3 power play goal. Mm-hmm. Essentially 2 games of work this week for Nikita Tolopilo. Hasn't given up a 5-on-5 goal. I would ride the Tolopilo train. Choo-choo. Let's make it happen. But something tells me that Kevin Lankinen's going to get the Leafs game on a Saturday night and everything else there. At the very least, I do hope that they split the 2 games on the road trip next week. We need more. We need more Nikita Tolopilo. And Kevin Lankinen's going to the Olympics. He doesn't need to play a whole bunch right now. So of the 2 guys, the big Belarusian is the hotter of the 2 goaltenders. I would say roll with him, but that's for another day. For this night at least, it was 32 saves for Tolopilo and 1, as you mentioned. Can't forget the 1. For Kevin Lankinen. There's more to talk about. Didn't feel like there was going to be a lot to talk about through 40 minutes of play, but business picked up in the third period. Actually, I thought the game got better in the second period. There were some scoring chances. There wasn't much doing in the first at all in this hockey game. So we won't spend a lot of time on the opening 20 minutes, but it was scoreless into the middle stages of the third period. And then the Canucks were able to finally get one, and then they sealed the deal into an empty net. 2-0 is the final score. Want to hear from you, as always, here on Rink Wide. Bring it with a super chat. Your thoughts on the hockey game, the state of this team, Olympics, whatever. Trade deadline, you name it. It's all there. Make a contribution to the BC Mental Health Foundation, and we will get your super chat on the live stream at the top of the queue. And we tell you every show that our charity partner again this season, the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. Let's quickly go through the goals because there weren't a lot of them. Drew O'Connor gets his 13th of the season. Nice pass by Jake DeBrusk. Atu Ratu won't get an assist on the play, but he pressures Jacob Trouba along the boards, and DeBrusk able to seal off the wall, takes the puck, slides it across, and there's the doctor. The dock is in, and so was the puck behind Lukas Dostal, 13th of the season at 10-18, and that broke the scoreless tie. It also ruined our fun here because, look, we got to create our own fun. When it was scoreless, and we thought, is this thing going to end like 1-0 in a shootout? And we said, if it does, we're going with the 3 goaltenders as the 3 stars in this hockey game, but no, Jake DeBrusk and Drew O'Connor had to go and ruin our fun here on Rink Wide, so it won't be a 3 goaltender, 3 stars. That's the spoiler alert there. But again, a nice play by Jake DeBrusk, who will factor into the 3 stars because he had a strong game. And he's a guy, as we know, kind of runs hot and cold. But I thought he was feeling it in this hockey game, and it wasn't that long ago that he was feeling under the weather and didn't play much in the third period. Was at the New Jersey game the other night. But Jake DeBrusk came back in a big way, and he sets up Drew O'Connor for the first goal. Turns out to be the game winner. And then the Canucks have been really disciplined throughout this hockey game and only taken 2 penalties. And I wanted to give them credit for, when you can't kill penalties, and the Sharks lit them up like so many teams have the other night, don't take any. And they didn't take a penalty against Pittsburgh the other day. So the Penguins didn't have a chance to work on the power play. And here, Anaheim had 2 power plays for the first 58 minutes. And then Connor Garland, like, come on. In that situation, you're nursing a 1-0 lead, and on your way to the bench in a line change, slash the stick out of the hands of Olin Zellweger, put the Ducks on the power play, and good on Teddy Blueger. Back in the lineup and making a difference. So he really has. Teddy Blueger, I didn't expect him, certainly didn't expect offensive contributions from Teddy Blueger, but he's been a stabilizing force. Teddy Blueger comes back in the lineup. They beat Washington last week, and here they beat the Ducks. And oh yeah, Teddy Blueger has scored 3 times in his return to the lineup, 2 of them shorthanded, including this one into an empty net to seal the deal.
4 goals in 7 games for Teddy Blueger, and it's wild because you talk about the center ice depth and the lack thereof, and once they get these bodies healthy, where do guys slot in and who plays where? And Teddy Blueger is a guy that, he did the interview with IMAC the other day, and, he's a man that is very proud and wants to play better and said you can't develop bad habits and things like that, and they got to keep moving on here. And he's doing it by example. I know it's an empty net goal, but he's been good. He's been one of their better players in these games, albeit they've lost a few of them. But Teddy Blueger comes to the rink every single day. He's going to go to the Olympics as well. But he's a guy that this team right now, if they're looking at it, I know his name's on the trade block and things like that, but do you need and want a guy like Teddy Blueger around here?
I'm doing the math on the top of my head. I'll have to go back and double check. But they won the first 2 games of the season that he played in Chicago and in Washington, and then he got hurt. So they were 2-0 then. He came back in the lineup. They beat Washington last week, so that got them to 3-0. And if my math is right, they're 4-3 with Teddy Blueger. They're above 500 as a hockey club with Teddy Blueger suiting up and doing his thing. So Teddy Blueger with his 4th of the year, 1932. It's an empty netter. It's a shorthanded goal. It's unassisted. And with 28 seconds remaining in the game, like that's 28 seconds of power play time that Anaheim didn't get to really. I mean, they continued on the power play, but at that point, it's now a 2-goal lead, and it was game, set, and match. So, that's a big goal for Teddy Blueger. Good on him. Getting the job done and helping this hockey club snap what was a 3-game losing streak. So it wasn't as long as the last losing streak, but again, wins have been in short order. I think we all recognize that. At this stage of the season, the Canucks record now 18-31-5, just their 2nd victory in 16 games, 12-2 in their last 16.
Wow. That is this team. I got my Vibe-O-meter later on. It's not going to be on this game. It's going to be on the entire month. That is the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll get to that. Spoiler alert, it ain't high. But, and also one of the things I wanted to point out here that I like kind of looking at the final stats is the Canucks lose Kiefer Sherwood. They also lose a big edge in hits in games. They got out hit 21-10 in this hockey game. Kiefer Sherwood's probably good for at least 6 in a game and maybe more. We've seen him obviously do that crazy amount, but we know the Canucks aren't a very physical team, so who's going to carry the brunt of the load on that? I mean, Marcus Pettersson had a couple, Atu Ratu had a couple. I think one of them was a rub along the boards, and David Kampf, but they're not a physical team, and it definitely shows without Kiefer Sherwood in the lineup.
Well, and I saw a lot of noise, and I've got time for it because we saw what Brian Rust did to Brock Besser at the final whistle the other day against Pittsburgh. And when Ryan Poehling just goes bowling for goaltenders, and again, Absolutely no response. And I know that the Ducks took a penalty and the Canucks then get a power play in a scoreless hockey game. But at some point, there's got to be somebody in this lineup that's going to say, screw that. Like, I'll forgo the power play to make some kind of statement. This is your goaltender. This is a guy that, again, played very well the other night, was starting to play well in this hockey game as well, and Ryan Poehling's able just to go directly to the net, puts his shoulder into Nikita Tolopilo, who has to be taken out of the game because of the concussion spotter, and fortunately passed whatever tests he needed to pass to get back in there. But like, this is now a valid criticism of this group of Vancouver Canucks. The games don't matter, the results don't matter, but people want to see this forging of a new culture here and the rebuild. And it's just, it is hard to watch. I will say that much, that it is hard to sit and watch as teams take liberties with the Vancouver Canucks, and nobody in a Canuck uniform seems to care. A couple of super chats to get to. Let's do it. Spatzilly says, Blueger 1C. Not quite ready to go there yet, Spatzilly, but appreciate the super chat. Again, though, I got lots of time for Teddy Blueger on and off the ice, and just bringing a little bit of backbone and spine to the hockey club and just defensive solidity. So we're not going 1C, but they are a better team with Teddy Blueger in the lineup than without. Casey Shuffle says, did we just enter the dead Nuck era? Are we talking about Tolopilo on the hit? I don't know. The dead Nuck era?
Dead Canucks era, maybe, for them not playing well, and like the dead puck era.
We entered that a long time ago.
No goals and things like that.
I
but
don't
yeah,
know.
That was entered a long time ago.
Not quite sure. May have to come with another super chat and explain that one a little bit more. Free Petey, a regular contributor, says, needed that win for our mental health. You guys rock. Keep on keeping on, Canucks Nation. And then a couple of the clapping hands emojis there. And Hugo Mugo, who has, we haven't heard from him in a while, but he is back, a shutout. What the heck's happening? Thanks for the show, boys. Yeah, it's nice to have different sort of thrust to a program like this one. As we said, they're not going to lose them all. They just aren't. I mean, the math will. There's still a lot of hockey to be played. They're going to get a few more wins along the way, but this was not a classic. Like the win over Washington, down 2, and a spirited comeback. I will give them credit. Like, look, we've dumped on them so many nights this year, and rightfully so with their defensive coverage. So on a night when they hold their opponents at bay, you have to at least salute them for they tidied up in their defensive zone. Like the Sharks picked them apart in the middle of the ice the other night. Canucks were way better here. And I get that Anaheim's without Leo Carlson, without Troy Terry, without Mason McTavish. Every team is without players. Those are injuries. But those are 3 of Anaheim's top 6 scorers. So right here, right now, that's a lot out of the Ducks lineup, and it showed. But again, that's not here to detract from what the Vancouver Canucks did from Tolopilo on out. I did think that they were better defensively and earned the result that they get with the 2-0 win.
And the funny thing about the shutout is, we've picked on them and this, that, and the other. I can make the joke here that it needed both goalies to get the shutout in this hockey game, but they did it, and good for them. And I mean, this has got to feel good. They got to go look for the axe. It's hidden somewhere in a cupboard to hand it out to the player of the game, which better be Nikita Tolopilo.
Lankinen's going to try and
he's been the player.
Yeah,
exactly. He's been the player of the game for the last 2 games. But yeah, just going back to that story and to what you said, to your point on just guys not having each other's back. And I think that that's the biggest thing. Like, your goalie gets run. Any other team in the National Hockey League, someone's taking a penalty. Someone is going to the box with that, and they'll kill that, no problem. You don't touch the goalie. And the goalie gets run. And not only does he get run and he's not in the game. And then there was nothing done about that after. You don't score on the power play. And obviously, things kind of go the way they were. You end up winning the hockey game, so in the end, it doesn't really matter. But these are habits. These are culture habits that you want to build. You want to be able to fight for each other. You want to be able to have each other's backs. And you hope that further down the line here, we'll start to see some of that a little bit.
Let's get to the 3 stars. 3 stars, as always, on Rink Wide, a presentation of Greta Bar YVR, and it's going to be hopping for Super Bowl, especially with the Seahawks in it. But even if the Hawks weren't there, I think Super Bowl, it would be a big day at Greta. Still time to reserve your spot, though, for a Super Bowl party on February 8th. It should be a great place to watch the game. They'll have all of the usual game day food and drink specials, the arcade games there as well. If you're looking for a place for you and your crew to watch all the big games, football, hockey, or anything else, Greta Bar, place to be, 50 West Cordova. Greta Bar, let the games begin. 3 stars in the building. Nikita Tolopilo gets the first-star honors. Drew O'Connor and Lucas Dostal gets a third-star nod, and I'm fine with that. And again, it was a goaltending showdown till the middle stage. I'm really even at 1-0. It's still a one-shot game. We're going clean sweep for the Canucks, and Dostal should get honorable mention. But Drew O'Connor gets the winning goal when we were deciding our stars. Looked like it might be the only goal of the hockey game. Breaking a scoreless tie midway through the third. He is 13th of the year. Drew O'Connor gets first star. Want to take a second, though, on Jake DeBrusk, because, again, it was a nice setup. But more than that, 6 shots on goal. I think 3 of them came on one power play where he dragged the puck to the front of the net and just kind of hammered away and whacked away at it and couldn't put it past Dostal. But still, you want to see Jake DeBrusk shooting the puck. And so for him to have 6 shots, 7 attempts on the night, that's a good sign. And he figures in the game-winning goal as well. And there's Nikita Tolopilo. And most nights when you make 32 saves and don't give up a goal, you're going to be the first star. But this one comes with an asterisk because he doesn't get the shutout himself. And so he was terrific. If we could have split like second star honors maybe. But Nikita will take the victory. He'll take his performance. And he'll have to settle for third star here on Rink Wide. So there you go, the 3 stars, all Vancouver Canucks. But Dostal was good. I thought in the second period the Canucks, again, started to show some signs of life. Evander Kane with a couple of chances was set up off the left wing by Elias Pettersson. Wasn't able to convert there. And then moments later, got in behind the defense, but that was one of the weirdest breakaways that I can recall.
I think he kind of just lost it a little bit and was too late to pull the trigger on the shot or the move. Ends up behind the net, didn't get a scoring chance out of it. But yeah, it was bizarre. I mean, I just think that maybe thought a little bit too much. Stick was a little bit too tight, but who knows? Unfortunately for him, it wasn't a scoring chance. But much more on Jake DeBrusk. We like to see guys that are your top 6 guys that have the 6 next to it, but I remember the shots. Like, you remember him being involved in the game. You remember him being on pucks and on top of the game and kind of, being on his toes throughout the duration of this game. So that's what you want to see from a guy like Jake DeBrusk, not doing all of his work on the power play or things like that. When he's engaged and playing and shooting the puck well and we're remembering it, those are things that they can build on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the second shutout of the season for the Vancouver Canucks. Thatcher Demko had a 23-save shutout. Remember Thatcher Demko. 23-save shutout at Madison Square Garden. Shut down and shut out JT Miller and the Rangers on December 16th, part of that 4-game win streak just before Christmas and right after the Quinn Hughes trade. So second shutout for the Vancouver Canucks and their first home shutout since they blanked Colorado late last season. Yeah, I mean, shutouts have been few and far between for the Vancouver Canucks, as wins have, and certainly home ice wins, but they get it all, wrap it up into a nice, tidy package, and they're 2-0 against the Ducks. Remember last week, our stat that stands out was Washington was their first double victim of the season. Yeah. Now the Capitals have some company here. Canucks beat the Ducks 5-4 down in SoCal in late November, and
that game was wild.
Tolopilo was in goal for that one, so Nikita Tolopilo 2-0 now against the Anaheim not-so-mighty Ducks on this night. A few other super chats that I want to get to here. Carl Spackler says, big game Saturday. Leafs Nucks in the dysfunctional cup final. Hey, the Canucks are coming off a win here. Give them their due. The Leafs, well, they're the Leafs. We'll talk more about them later in the program, but they are in a bit of a death spiral right now. Couldn't win at home and now can't win out on the road either. Super chat from Vipers Whip. If the Leafs steal our first pick, I will be so mad. Toronto has a 16-point lead on the Vancouver Canucks in the standings still.
And they're still above 500. That's how good the Atlantic is.
Yeah. So I think you got to hold off the angst there at this point. Although we saw the Islanders jump up 10 spots and win the lottery last year. So that's why it's a lottery, but it does look like the Canucks, for the most part, are well on their way to securing the best draft lottery odds, even though the odds aren't great, but 25.5% if you are 32nd and last in the standings.
Yeah, the New York Islanders sell a lot of Matthew Schaefer jerseys. The Toronto Maple Leafs could probably sell a lot of Actually, you know what? I'm just going to stop. I'm stopping.
We'll have lots of time to discuss draft lottery and lottery odds and all those types of things. Let's get to the stat that stands out from this hockey game. It's delivered, as always, by Uber Eats, and every time the Canucks play at home, you can get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver only on Uber Eats. And from game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Hashtag crave the stats. Now, the stat that stands out in this one, this is the 4th shared shutout in Vancouver Canucks franchise history.
Wow.
The last one, I think, and I stand to be corrected here, but we can all remember, against Winnipeg, Thatcher Demko started, had to take himself out of the game. Casey DeSmith came in and mopped up.
Yeah.
And that was the last we saw Thatcher Demko for a couple of months ahead of the playoff run in 23-24. Came back for the final couple of games of the regular season, played the first game of the playoffs against Nashville, and then was done. So it's been a little while, not that long, but a couple of seasons. But this is the 4th shared shutout in Vancouver Canucks franchise history. So there you go. If you were wondering, I don't know if you were, but that is our stat that stands out, brought to you by Uber Eats.
I like it.
Yeah, I want to get to the fact that we saw Filipino on the wing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really notice him. It's 4 games back. I mean, I had low expectations, so I can't say that he has disappointed. I think he's underwhelmed a little bit. But interesting that Adam Foote said after the morning skate that they had spoken to Hedl about this and that Hedl had agreed that maybe it was something he should try. We know that one of his issues has been skating a million miles an hour straight ahead and running into big roadblocks at the defensive blue line and putting himself in harm's way. You play the wall, though, and all of a sudden you got the boards to worry about. And this is an Anaheim team that has not just Jacob Trouba, but Radko Gudas, who, Radko Gudas looked intimidating in the ceremonial face-off. I thought he was going to try and scare Elias Pettersson the drop of the puck there.
Yeah.
He's a mean dude, no question. We didn't see him necessarily with a ton of big hits in this hockey game. In fact, Radko Gudas didn't have a hit credited to him. Jacob Trouba didn't either. But Ian Moore, he demolished Hedl along the sideboards, just inside the Canucks bench, the area there along the boards, late in the second period. And I was in the press box looking right down on top of that one. It was a heavy hit, and when I realized, oh man, that's Hedl, I have to admit, I was a little concerned. So I was glad to see him pop to his feet. He played in the third period. He finished the hockey game. He's made it through 4 games now. On that level, that part's successful. In terms of things that he's doing with the puck and trying to create, plays 15 minutes in this hockey game, 1 shot. He was good in the faceoff, won 5 of 6 faceoffs. But
that's what I was going to say. He played the wing, still took 6 faceoffs.
Yeah. And I think, too, you move a center to the wing, then it opens up a spot, obviously, where Camp had sat out a couple of games. Max Sassone can't get into the lineup right now, but it allows the Canucks to utilize a couple more of the centers. I don't know about you. To me, it just felt like more of the same. It's 4 games now. I'm happy for Filipino that his career has resumed and he's managed to stay healthy, but he has not been any kind of impact player.
No. And look, I think it's still going to take a little bit of time, but if you're already moving him to not play the position that he is meant to play and gotten paid a very large amount of money to play in center and plays at a high level or did play at a high level, then that's a little bit concerning as to what you want out of this player. I mean, you're not really going to change the guy of who he is as a National Hockey League player, but if it's up to him that saying that he wanted to try it out and maybe that he can't go the speeds that he wants to go anymore and he doesn't like getting in on the forecheck there, well, you're right, Jeff. You're playing on the boards. You're leaving it up to anybody, not just Radko Gudas or Jacob Trouba. Anybody will come and have absolutely no problem hitting you. They don't care who you are, what history that you've had. Guys will finish their checks in this National Hockey League. So, I think for Filipino, it's still going to be a wait and see of how you feel and how you react. I hope for his sake that he stays here and works during the break, right? And not, everyone deserves a vacation, things like that. But a guy hasn't played in a long time. So maybe if you do want to skate and, get through and keep going and maybe try and, up your game a little bit that way. I mean, I'm sure the Canucks are going to encourage it, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. So it would be interesting to see what his kind of break looks like if he goes off the ice, because he did have so much time off. But one, happier that he's in the lineup. But again, two, what are you doing when you're in the lineup now, I think is a bigger question.
Yeah, and you raise an interesting point there, because like the NHL has told teams they cannot practice as a team between February 6th and 16th. But, in a world where a team owned its own practice facility and, there was ice to be had, could guys go and skate on their own? I don't know the answer to that. I think a lot of them will be heading for beaches and sunny climes.
Of course.
But you're right. Teams can get back to practice on February 17th. So circle that date on your calendar. I don't know if the Canucks will go back to it because they don't play till the 25th. So I'm not sure what their plans are, but the CBA allows teams to get back to practice on the afternoon of February the 27th. This segment of Rink Wide is presented by the Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. It's a no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. You can drive up to 72 kilometers on battery alone, just putter around town. You can get from downtown to the rink, to the grocery store, home to recharge, all on battery, not a speck of gasoline, but it seamlessly transitions from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers, no sacrifices. When it comes to horsepower or style, it's got a sleek, low, wide exterior and a sophisticated interior that's full of tech that's actually easy to use. Right now, you can lease a 2026 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $109 weekly at 3.99% APR for 64 months with $3,300 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Anytime you get a team shutout, I mean, we spent a fair bit of time talking about the goaltending, but I think we're at a point in time right now where individually we're watching the young defensemen. How are they handling it? We heard the comments of Tom Willander. I hope he'll feel better about things tonight after a victory. Pretty obvious after the game the other night against San Jose. Like, he's taking these losses hard. This is his first look at professional hockey. This is not really what he expected, I don't think, after he left a successful Boston University program and basically laid it all out there, that he sucked, they sucked, all of that kind of stuff. I thought he was a little harsh on himself. So hopefully he can enjoy a victory here. But, watching him, watching DPD, Victor Mancini was a healthy scratch, which I thought was interesting in this hockey game. But we talked on the program the other night that it was a tough go for Mancini, and so I'm not shocked that he came out of the lineup. But just overall, I thought the young defenseman contributed to a better defensive environment in front of their goaltenders.
And I do like what Elias Pettersson did after, kind of getting, we mentioned the guys not really having their goalies back. There was that scrum kind of beside. I can't remember who it was that dug their stick right underneath. It was Zellweger, dug his stick right underneath Tolopilo, and Elias Pettersson said, nope, we're not having that.
No, you're right.
And I think if he can bring a little bit more of that into his game, his snarl, the Canucks have the finesse young guys that can play with the puck. They've got the Zeev Biomes, they've got the Tom Willanders, they've got the guys that can move the puck well like that. Elias Pettersson doesn't need to be that guy. If you can be your rugged defenseman that, hits, you're steady on that back end, and you can get the puck out of your zone, your first pass is excellent, you can play in the National Hockey League for quite some time. So I think that if he can develop into a player like that, where you see it, maybe he's hit a wall a little bit this season of what he wants to be, but that his physical attributes are a reason why people really liked him when they first saw him last season.
No, I would agree with you. And I think you're right. Bouillon and Willander are going to transport the puck. They're going to be guys that are able to join the attack and contribute offensively. Yeah. I think it is a battle right now, and it's more in DPD's DNA than it is Mancini's, but Mancini is a big, large man. I think he would do well to try to carve out a career as a physical guy, a shutdown, defense first, penalty kill, those types of things. He's just him freewheeling and thinking that he's going to be able to carve out a career when you already got these guys ahead of you on the depth chart. I don't think it's in his best interest. So it'll be interesting to see how he slots in here with they got 3 games to go now before the Olympic break. There's 3 games to go before the Olympic break, 1 more on the homestand, and that's Saturday afternoon against Toronto. And there are 7 games now remaining before the March 6th trade deadline. So it's broken up, obviously a 3-week break, but only 7 games between now and the trade deadline, and we'll see how things shake down there. For Drew O'Connor, he became the first guy on this team to score 3 goals on the homestand. So it's the struggle is real. We know that. It's his 3rd goal in 15 games, but he's having a nice season. I mean, 13 goals now. He's got a legitimate shot at 20. And we'll see if he can get there. But there are still so many guys that are struggling offensively. Connor Garland got the bump up to the line with Elias Pettersson.
Yep.
Evander Kane on the other side. Garland is now no goals in 16 games, no points. Not a single point for Connor Garland. That's hard to wrap my head around. 12 games now, a 12-game pointless streak. Like, points happen. They give out 2 assists on every goal. A guy that generally plays hard, and I thought he did tonight. I thought that line in the second period showed some signs of life. I didn't like the late penalty, but otherwise I thought Connor Garland was fine in this hockey game. Still can't buy a point. So that's a dozen games now for Connor Garland without a point. Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, this wasn't... no, the Canucks had 3 power plays. I didn't think he was as noticeable. I didn't think he was sort of commanding of the puck as he was the other night against San Jose. This guy's a volume shooter. When he's on, no shots on goal. He missed his 2 attempts. So, 11 minutes and 33 seconds. Did you notice Lecker-Mackey?
Nope. No. And you know the funny thing about Connor Garland is his career high is 52 points.
Yep.
And I think that here in Vancouver and maybe fans, media, you expect more from Connor Garland because of how much he's meant to this team. But Connor Garland, I don't think is ever going to be a 70-point guy, 80-point guy in the National Hockey. That's just not who he is as a player. So when he isn't doing anything on these runs and these streaks, we get so lost. It's like, oh, why isn't Connor Garland not done anything? Why hasn't he not done this and that? Well, he's not that guy. And he's had great runs where he has proved and done it, but he's a career 52-point guy.
Right, but I mean, even if he's a 40-point guy, that's half a point a game. He's gone 12 without a single point.
True.
So I know they haven't been scoring a ton, but again, it's just like, how do you not pick up a second assist somewhere along the line? You used to just give it to Quinn and let Quinn do it and get all sorts of second assists.
Exactly.
But, Quinn doesn't play here anymore. We got the vibe check still ahead. Going to stick around for that. I got a text from Murph this morning. He's like, yeah, I don't know. You're going to have to wait for this one. So I eagerly await the vibe check. We'll get to that momentarily. Before that, though, we should tell you about this contest. I hope you've entered by now. If you haven't, don't wait. You still got a little bit of time, but why wouldn't you want a road trip to go watch the Vancouver Canucks? A little sunshine. It's this simple. You get Pacific Blue Cross travel insurance for your chance to see the Canucks out on the road, complete with flights, hotel, lower bowl tickets, and more. There's no purchase necessary. The contest ends February 28th, 2026. You must be a BC resident. Enter now. pacificbluecross.ca/Canucks. Again, the website is pacificbluecross.ca/Canucks. Just looking at the underlying numbers in this hockey game, fairly solid performance from Aatu Ratu. We talked about his role unassisted, but the role that he played, pressuring the puck on the first goal of the hockey game. Individual Corsi for of 58%. That was best on the hockey team. Filipino, we talked about him. Not far behind, so at least controlling play and holding his own. A good night for P.O. Joseph and Tyler Myers, both above 55%, and that hasn't always been the case all season long. So, good on those guys. It's kind of funny because we sang the praises of Teddy Blueger. Now, Blueger taking on tough matchups, but it was difficult 5-on-5 for Teddy Blueger. Shot attempts 18-5 in favor of Anaheim, so an individual Corsi of 21.7%. The actual shots on goal 13-3 in the Ducks' favor. So Teddy got caved there by the underlying numbers. Not a great night for Tom Willander. The shots were 12-1 for the Ducks with Tom on the ice, 12-2 with Marcus Pettersson out there. So A bit of a mixed bag on a night like this one, but at the end of the night, the Canucks do come out with the 2-0 victory. Just their, second win of the homestand, and their first win over a Western Conference opponent at Rogers Arena since they beat Minnesota back on the 6th of December.
Jeez.
I know.
This seems like so long ago.
And yes, it was, but there's still a lot of hockey left to be played as well for the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll see if they can build off this one. They got a Leafs team that's limping in here. And even where they are in the standings, I still think like Saturday afternoon will be fun. I don't think either of these teams necessarily wants to give an inch to the other. We know that wins aren't necessarily in the Canucks' best interest, but they certainly stand a chance against a Toronto team. They got spanked in Seattle and comes in here. Not exactly on a roll. As I said, we'll talk a little bit more about the Leafs as we go along here. But I do want to get to, before we get to the live check, let's get to the line of the night, first of all.
Let's do it.
So we'll do our Bet365 line of the night. What are you looking at? Pretty slim pickings on everybody played tonight or pretty close to it.
So we're gonna skip tomorrow because I hate the game with our Bet365 line of the night.
Chicago and Columbus?
I'm going right to the big one, Jeff.
Okay.
The big smoke. Big smoke up in here at Rogers
Let's
Arena
set it up.
on Saturday.
Build this thing up.
Yeah, so I think you got the Toronto Maple Leafs, who haven't won in forever. You know an interesting stat about the Toronto Maple Leafs? They scored a power play goal against the Seattle Kraken. That was their first power play goal by a defenseman in forever.
Morgan Riley scored the goal.
It was their first power play goal by a defenseman in forever. I'll pull up the date in a second, but let me do it this way. I like the over in the hockey game. I know there's only 2 goals in this hockey game. I like the over. I think both teams are going to trade some chances. I like the Leafs on the money line. And give me an Austin Matthews anytime goal. I think it's going to be fun. I mean, there's always a vibe in the building when it is the Leafs. I don't care what you have to say or how bad these two teams are. There's still 2 teams that, for albeit, it's a little bit of bragging rights as we're going to be. So whatever you bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION. Bet365 must be 19 to play. Please play responsibly.
All right. It is vibe check time. If you are new to Rink Wide, final game of the month that Irf works, and he is actually going to go to the game on Saturday, so he won't be here in studio with us, but he'll be enjoying the hockey game at Rogers Arena. So this makes this one his final game of the month. And each month through the season, we just kind of weigh in on the vibes around the Vancouver Canucks. They haven't been good. Vibe meter has been pretty low. This month has been dreadful. I have to think that the vibe meter is probably... December saw Quinn Hughes, the franchise defenseman, traded away.
He's in here, don't worry.
Vibes were low. And then January, and it got worse. So I am curious. The segment of Rink Wide is a presentation of Levelwear. The Nation Network has partnered with Levelwear, a great Canadian sportswear company, and we've been telling you this for the better part of a week now. But they've got this Hurley and Levelwear collaboration. Hurley brings the laid-back board sports energy. The collection pulls inspiration from Hawaiian and coastal prints. It's relaxed, it's expressive, it's rooted in lifestyle. And then Levelwear comes along, and they take the inspiration and they bring it to life through performance-driven, sustainably made apparel that's actually built to move and play. And the result is the Fairwaves collection, modern golf silhouettes that feel lighter, more wearable, less rigid. It's respectful of the game's roots, but definitely not stuck in tradition. Collection's live, and it's available on Levelwear's website. Go to levelwear.com. You can check out the polos, the hoodies, hats, and the casuals. Again, the website is levelwear.com. 2-0, the Vancouver Canucks defeat the Anaheim Ducks, and yet Irf is going to tell me that the vibes aren't good.
No, the vibes definitely aren't good. And you know what? The funny thing is, when I started writing this, I was like, this is starting to sound very similar to other vibe checks. So this is my ode to the vibes.
Okay.
Okay? Well, you already know it ain't going to be high, and you're a damn fool if you don't know why. Vibes, Jeff, they're barely a 1. This team in season... my goodness, they are so done. We're almost a year to the day to the trade of since the trade of JT Miller. Since then, somehow the Kings are still employing Jim Hiller. He gets a shot. Forwards can't score and injuries are the worst. Surely, being this bad, they have to pick first. The captain is gone and thriving in mini. Meanwhile, the number 1 center here played a little New York shinny. The star goalie is out getting surgery on his hip. He was supposed to be the backbone, the guy to take this team to the chip. Young Tom Willander got mad and didn't like his game. There needs to be a lot more accountability. We talk about it a lot this show. We won't name names. The head coach comes out and speaks after every day. I really wonder if anyone is understanding the message that he has to say. Now, I've never played the game, so I'll never know. But what I do know is what I hear, and those vibes, oh man, they are extremely low. Comparing teams isn't really what I want to do, but with the break so near, the Leafs are trying to compete for low vibes, and once again, the Canucks are saying, hold my beer. Trade season is coming, and the Canucks are for sale. The only untouchable on the roster is Finn, the friendly whale. I feel the fan base and the happiness for the tank. This team's so bad to even have a proper rank, whether it's McKenna or pick 2 or number 3. The Canucks have a few years of bad hockey. You're going to have to wait and see. You'll have to wonder if the people in charge can really get it right. But at least for the last 3 months of the season, you hope to see a little bit of fight. I'll leave it with this. Wherever you look on the compass, this team lacks direction. Oh yeah, Jeff, half the roster has some sort of trade protection. We're at a 1.
We're at a 1. Yeah, I mean, look, we've done these shows after every game. This is their 18th victory of the season. We're in the last days of January. They are 6-17-3 on home ice. A 1 is pretty fitting. The fact it rhymed, I was not expecting that.
Neither was I.
And I wasn't expecting Jim Hiller to catch strays.
Sorry, Jim Hiller. I just laughed about it.
Oh, my. But, yeah, you covered a lot of ground there, and you are not wrong. So, I guess the question is, February won't have a lot of games, so we'll see if the vibe meter jumps in any way.
Well, I think, February's got 4.
Are there only 4 games in February?
Yeah, 2 at the beginning and 2 at the end.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that the vibe meter is going to change an awful lot. The roster might, although the trade deadline.
They've got a window here of opportunity with is like 5 days.
Yep,
6 days to make trades.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, we've heard it from a lot of people that acquiring teams don't want to bring on salary, that they have to pay for guys that are on the payroll for 3 weeks that they're not playing. So I understand that, but does that then push it to a scramble coming out of the Olympic break and essentially the 2 weeks there before the March 6th trade deadline? We'll have to wait and see. We do expect some more activity from the Vancouver Canucks, but the Kiefer Sherwood trade didn't exactly give Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvin that mojo to carry on. Their trades have kind of come in spurts here with Quinn Hughes, and then a month goes by, and then it's Kiefer Sherwood, and now we'll see what happens. But it is interesting. Like, again, it's an empty net goal. I get that, but it represents the idea of late in the hockey game, protecting the lead, all that kind of stuff. Like, I do wonder if even a week back in the lineup has caught the attention of teams around the NHL when it comes to a guy like Teddy Blueger.
Yeah, and I think that they will. Like, I expect a guy like Teddy Blueger to get moved. Now, depending on what the Canucks want in return, we saw that the report was out that Evander Kane, the Canucks want a 3rd-round pick for his services. Well, Teddy Blueger kills penalties.
They wanted a first for Kiefer Sherwood.
And wanted a first for Kiefer Sherwood. Got 2 seconds. It can end up being top 50, but Teddy Blueger is going to be an interesting one because he is very serviceable. That guy can play up and down the lineup. He can win you big faceoffs. He can kill penalties. He can score, as we've seen, and he can help a team that is a contender, or maybe a team that thinks that they're a contender. Like, look at the Eastern Conference right now, Jeff. There are so many teams that think that they can do it and be in. Like, the amount of points that the point percentage and all of that between the teams that are right out of the picture and are just in the picture right now is crazy. Like, the Leafs are the last team in the division, and they have a record above 500. Like, that's wild to me. So I think a lot of Eastern teams are going to start here in these next few days and try and get someone. Now, the only thing that kind of gets weird is, do GMs want to pay for guys to not play for them for 2 weeks?
Yep.
And I think that 13-day window right after the Olympic break ends, right when the roster freeze lifts up until the trade deadline on March 9th is going to be bananas. I really do. I think we're in for a big one this year.
Well, if people haven't paid a lot of attention to the East, there's now some real separation. Like, the Boston Bruins are holding down wild card 2 at the end of the night here. They are 8 points in front of the Florida Panthers and the Washington Capitals. It's an 8-point gap from the team above the playoff bar to those in the chase pack. But from the Boston Bruins as the second wildcard team in the East to first place in the conference at Tampa Bay, and Tampa's just been on fire for a month and a half, there's 5 points. 5 points separating the 8 teams. Yeah. So I look at that and I just think, like, why wouldn't you push some chips to the middle if you're the Detroit Red Wings or the Buffalo Sabres or the New York Islanders? Like, there isn't a clear-cut favorite in that Eastern Conference. And I think with the right trades, and like the Islanders starting to make some deals this week, I think teams could potentially shift the balance of power there. So we'll see how it all shakes down. Like the Montreal Canadiens have an incredible season, but they're a wild card team right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, a couple of wins and they can jump back into top spot in their division. They're not that far out, but that's just sort of the way it shakes. It's remarkably tight above the playoff bar, but now we're starting to see, you know, the two-time defending champs are 8 points out of a playoff spot right now.
And it's so funny because you look at the Western Conference and the Edmontons, the Vegases, the Colorados, the Dallases, the Minnesota, like they're all going to be there. We know that. So the Eastern Conference is going to look at the bottom barrel of all these Western Conference teams that are bottoming out and saying, okay, can I get a Blake Coleman? Can I get a Teddy Blueger, Andy Vander Kane? And these Western Conference teams are going to find it really hard to try and beef up because, A, some GMs don't want to trade within divisions and don't want to give players to Western Conference opponents. And the East, everyone thinks they're good, so no one wants to trade their players. It's going to be an interesting time for sure.
Colorado got spanked again, lost.
Those guys are mailing it in until the Olympics.
And it's starting to look and feel that. I guess my question to you is, Colorado looked like they had run away and hid from everybody, and it was going to be this record-setting season in the National Hockey League. They still have only 8 regulation losses. They have 9 OTLs or shootout losses. But Tampa's closed the gap. Minnesota as well. They're 7 points back. Do you think there is a race for is there still a President's Trophy race? Or on the other side of the Olympics, did Colorado snap back to attention and kind of put the hammer down?
I think Colorado's going to snap back to attention. I think that team is very well coached. I think that team is very well run. I think that they're just in a little bit of a rut right now, knowing this break is coming. You gave yourself that cushion for a reason. You're allowed to have slip-ups like this. The crazy thing is they got a 7 spot put up on them twice.
Yeah.
Like that, to me, is everyone was calling for their goaltenders to be on Team Canada. I don't know. I mean, it's not just on the goaltender, obviously, but that's pretty wild. I mean, I do think that they come back to it. I think the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars are very interesting. Like, I saw Kevin Weeks put out a report about, how many teams were interested in Artemi Panarin. I wonder if it's like the Minnesota Wild or the Dallas Stars that really goes and gets that guy or tries really hard. The Wild have dangled their goalie.
Yeah.
Like that to me is Injun Wellstead. Like they have dangled him. If you're willing to do that, that means you're willing to make another massive splash because you think your team can win. So Vegas, always a team that is going to add. You know that they're going to do something. And then the San Jose Sharks are interesting too. I know they blew the lead against the Edmonton Oilers, today. And the Oilers big guys all came and showed up. But I think that they think that they can add and say, okay, let's really try and give it a go and see if we can do this and get in the dance. They owe it to Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and that team to at least try and add and do something. And they did that already with Kiefer Sherwood, but I think they're going to do more.
So the Vancouver Canucks will get back at practice. I assume, I haven't seen, but 4 o'clock start on Saturday. There won't be a morning skate. So I'm guessing that the Canucks will have some kind of ice session on Friday and then get after it against the Leafs. That's when we'll have our next episode of Rink Wide. We talked a little bit about the fact that the Leafs are in a bad way right now. Lost 5-2 down in Seattle. Gave up a goal on the first shot of the hockey game, so didn't exactly set the tone for their road trip. They tied it up, but then the Kraken scored 2 goals in 20 seconds to pull ahead and ultimately pull away. So Toronto limps into Vancouver, winless in 5. They're 0-5 or winless in 6 now. 0-5-1 in their last 6. 1 victory in their last 9 hockey games. Willie Nylander leads the team in scoring. On the trip, didn't play in Seattle, but there were reports today that he could return to the lineup here against the Canucks on Saturday. Now, you may remember 3 weeks ago, the Canucks were in Toronto. William Nylander had been out for a while. He returned. He had a big night then. He scored and had a couple of assists. In the meantime, he's been flipping the bird. But he is their leading scorer. And if he's back in there, that will help them. He'll make them better. Austin Matthews, 26 goals on the season, leads the Toronto Maple Leafs. Took one off the knee tonight and went down hard. Took a slap shot off the knee. I think he was fine, though. He stayed in the hockey game, but there was a brief scare there. And a homecoming of sorts. OEL having a nice season on the blue line for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Troy Stecher coming back home, played his 600th game in the National Hockey League the other night. Would have been kind of cool if the milestone had come here in his hometown. No Chris Tanev, no Dakota Joshua. They are both on the shelf and not coming back anytime soon. You took the over in this game, and you might be onto something here. We know the defensive struggles of the Canucks tonight notwithstanding, but the Leafs 30th in the National Hockey League in goals against and 32nd in shots allowed per game. So they give up a bunch. They stink on the road. They are 8-12-3 away from home. But they did beat the Vancouver Canucks 5-0 back on January 10th. And, of course, that turned out to be, we didn't know it at the time, but that was Thatcher Demko's final game of the season.
And they've got 19 of their final 29 games are on the road for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I remember that Morgan Riley stat? That was their first power play goal by a defenseman this entire season. January 30th.
Really?
The Leafs' first power play goal by a defenseman was Morgan Riley on January 30th of this season, which is it's just insane. I mean, look at the guys that they have up front, so you obviously think that those guys are going to do the brunt of it. But when it comes to blue line scoring, especially with the man advantage, those guys aren't cranking it from the point much or anymore. They don't have an Evan Bouchard, let's put it that way.
All right. Before we run here, let's get inside the Canuck locker room. Drew O'Connor scores the game winner midway through the third period. 13th goal of the season on a pretty setup from Jake DeBrusk. Here is Drew O'Connor in the locker room after the win.
Thought it was good. Tolo did a great job. Obviously, made a lot of big saves. But I thought we were pretty tight. We didn't give them too much off the rush. They're a rush team, and I thought we did a good job keeping an F3 above and not giving them too many chances.
Was it important to respond that way on the defensive side of the puck after the way the San Jose game went the other night?
Yeah, the San Jose game, a few others probably. It's something we've had to tighten up. So I thought tonight was a good example of if we do things the right way, the results will follow.
How'd you see the goal?
Just a good play by Jake. Just wanted to get it off quick. I think those ones sometimes when the goalie's sliding over, it's just better to get it off as quick as you can. And yeah, just a quick shot.
How about Nikita having a night like that tonight? Guy who hasn't played so many games in the NHL to have something like that and not get a shutout ultimately for himself, but a team shutout. What's it like to watch him perform like that?
I mean, it's exciting for him. We're all happy for him. It's kind of sucks he doesn't get the shutout, but I'm sure there'll be more to follow.
What does it mean for the group to just get a win after everything that's gone on this homestand?
It's great. It's obviously been a struggle for us, and it's been frustrating for everyone, I think. Nobody likes losing, and it hasn't been fun, so we're trying to dig ourselves out of it, but it's nice to get one. Yeah.
How important is it now to carry the momentum forward with 3 games left before the break?
Really important. Hopefully we can get a couple more before the break, and then feel good going into it, and when we come back, we'll kind of have a sprint to the finish. But these next 3 are really important.
What was the mood like on the bench in the third period when it was just scoreless?
Well, it was exciting because I think we haven't had a ton of close games recently, so you want that feeling of being in a meaningful game, and we haven't had that for a little while in the third period, it's felt like. So I think everyone was excited to play, and just looking forward to kind of getting a win.
All right, there you go, Drew O'Connor. I liked his response. Brendan Batchelor asked one question about tightening up after what had happened against San Jose the other night.
Yeah.
He was like, San Jose and some other games. There have been a few that they've been far too loose in their own zone, but they weren't tonight. So they get the job done. Team shutout. 2-0 win over the Anaheim Ducks, and he talked about momentum. Of course, if they beat the Leafs, that would be back-to-back wins for the first time here in calendar year 2026, and you have to go back to the tail end of that Eastern road trip just before Christmas when they beat the New York Islanders and then beat the Boston Bruins in a shootout. That was the last time that they won 2 in a row, and that was part of a 4-game win streak. So it's been a long time since this team has been able to back up. Well, they haven't had many wins to back up, but to back up one win with another, we'll see if they can do that again. It's there for them because the opponent that's coming in on Saturday, in some ways, in rougher shape than they are over the last couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, and I think the the smoke is always much louder in Toronto, especially when things are going the wrong way for the Maple Leafs. So it's going to be interesting. I think that, the Leafs have a practice day here on Friday, and then probably no morning skates for either team, and just kind of get right at it on the afternoon and a 4 p.m. start, which, some people don't love it. I love it. I think it's great. So yeah, it just should be fun. I think there's a lot of storylines in the hockey game, so it should be fun.
Well, it'll be fun even without you here, but
Yes.
I hope you go have a good time and
Yes.
enjoy the hockey game. You'll be back next week for the 2 road games.
Yes, mom's trip.
Right. The Mums are going on the road. We'll see if they can keep these guys in line, and if inspires the players to have their mothers on the road with them. Canucks haven't done this for a couple of years. The last time they did one of these was a mentors trip to Denver and Seattle. I want to say that was early in Rick Tockett's tenure. But they haven't done it for the last couple of seasons. But this time, the Mums are packing the bags, going to Utah, and then going to Vegas. And that'll be it for the Canucks. They finish up the pre-Olympic portion of their schedule in Vegas next Wednesday night. All right, we'll put a wrap on the program there. The Canucks beat the Ducks 2-0. Jacob Lazar, our technical producer, double duty for him with Convo earlier in the day, but always good to have Jacob in. And thank you, Irf.
Yes, sir.
Enjoyed the Vibometer,
Yeah.
the rhyming Vibometer at that. That's going to do it for us. 2-0 Canucks over the Ducks. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of Rink Wide Vancouver.